Welcome everyone to Monday Match Analysis. I'm Gill Gross. Manic Monday at Wimbledon 2021 is in the books. It is the final time that we can say that, as we have just experienced for the very last time all of the men and all of the women playing every single round of 16 matchup, as I just moved the camera over a little bit, in one day. Unfortunately, it is as much a day of, chaos and all this incredible tennis, and I was lucky enough to go there in 2019 and see it for myself. It's also a day of missed matches. It's hard to watch them all at once, right? And I think it's better if all of the product is on at once. Anyway, this is the first live Monday Match Analysis, history of the show. So you are watching history. I couldn't think of a better day to do it on than after this wonderful Manic Monday at Wimbledon 2021. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here. And how it is going to work is I'm going to go through all the results that we saw today and just offer my thoughts and my takes on everything that went down. And then I will take your comments, and we can take a look at the draw as well before we move along. I'm not going to predict every match. That's going to be another video, and I need to take some time to stew. But that's what we're going to do. So if you're not here for spoilers, of course, they are coming. And let me just go through the results real quick, and then I'll go in depth on some of them. So the first to finish today, Matteo Berrettini, the number 7 seed, rolls through Ilya Ivashka in just an hour, 47 minutes, 6-4, 6-3, 6-1. The Italian still has not really been challenged since losing a set to Guido Pella, which I think was in the first round. So Berrettini through. The second match to finish was Denis Shapovalov, a 3-set victory over Roberto Bautista Agut. This was a match that was completed in just over 2 hours, 6-1, 6-3, 7-5 for Shapo, a match that I think a lot of people had going both ways. The gambling odds were pretty tight, but the match wasn't. Shapo definitively beating the Spaniard. Next up was a match that started at 11 a.m. British time, British Standard Time, right? That's what it's called. But it was third to finish because it was a marathon, a bit of a marathon. 5 sets. Karen Khachanov ends the breakthrough for the young American Sebastian Korda. 10-8 in the 5th set. A match that I would give the honor as being the match of the day. And I'll get into it. Andrei Rublev is out, the number 5 seed. Does not set up the Novak Djokovic match in the quarterfinal after all. He is taken out by Monday Match Analysis's favorite dark horse, Marton Fucsovics, 6-3, 4-6, 4-6, 6-love, 6-3. The Hungarian through to his first major quarterfinal. On court number 1, we had Felix Auger-Aliassime taking on Alexander Zverev. FAA got out to a 2-sets-to-love lead, relinquished the lead. We went 5, but the Canadian came through in the 5th. 6-4. FAA in his first major quarterfinal. Monumental step in the young Canadian's career. Finally, it happens. And, it's a big deal for him, no doubt. And then you have, of course, on center court, Roger Federer taking out Lorenzo Sonego 7-5, 6-4, 6-2, and Novak Djokovic taking out Christian Garin. Sorry for getting the order wrong. I left out Novak there, but he takes out Garin 6-2, 6-4, 6-2. Blazed through that one, an hour 50. And Federer, it's his most straightforward match. I guess it's pretty much the same as the Gasquet match for Roger Federer. So that is all the action that transpired on this beautiful Monday. I want to start with Khachanov and Sebi Korda. I just thought it was the best match today, and I just think they put on quite the show. So Korda came out. I mean, he played beautiful, flawless tennis out the gates, and I just think in general in the match, Sebi Korda just has a little bit more than Karen Khachanov from a ball striking perspective. I fancy his forehand. It's a much better forehand than Khachanov's, and I think they both have these brilliant backhands, but Korda can time it and redirect it down the line, and Khachanov has to primarily, unless he has a wide open opportunity, primarily takes it cross court. So I felt that when Korda could get a handle on the serve return dynamic, he was the better player. He was getting the better of the baseline rallies. You could see it early on in how the second serve points were being played out. But here's the trend I really want to highlight in this match. It has to do with Sebastian Korda's first serve. And the sets he won are set 1 and set 4. Korda's first serve average speed in 1 and 4, the sets he won, was 115 miles per hour. And in set 1, he won 88% of his first serve points. In set 4, he made 89% of his first serve points. And again, both sets averaged 115. Now let's go through the others. First, we'll go with the average speed in set 2 down to 112. In set 3, 113. And in set 5, 111. For most of the set, I was looking at 110, but he got it up to 111 evidently in his last couple service games. So lowest of the match in set 5. And now you look at how many first serve points he won in those sets. Set 2, 61%. Set 3, not bad, 79%. And it was just one break point. Khachanov 1 for 1, break points 1, total points 1, 27-22, kind of thin margins. But still lower than the 90% that he saw in set 1 and set 4. And then in set 5, 35%. As soon as that number goes down to 111, 110, where he was kind of teetering in that 5th set, it's plummeting. It's just so, isn't that amazing how a couple of miles per hour can make the difference when it comes to Korda's first serve effectiveness? It doesn't sound like much. It really doesn't, right? But just that little bit, a couple miles per hour, 115 down to 112, down to 111, makes all the difference. And the thing that Khachanov is doing so well in this tournament is he's thumping the serve at 6'5", and the strong legs and the good build that he has and the long levers with his arms. He's thumping the serve because for so long throughout the last 2 years, I've been watching Karen Khachanov and thinking, dude, why aren't you hitting the first serve? Like, stop massaging that in. And his first serve numbers in this match, really good. And in the Tiafoe match, outstanding. And just to compare from a miles per hour standpoint, Khachanov's averaging 118 on the first and a healthy 101 on the second. And Korda, you have 113 on the first, 96 on the second, a 5 mile per hour difference. Then you look at spot serving, which also left a lot to be desired in the 5th set, especially for Korda, but honestly by both guys. When it comes to spot serving, Korda serves 6 aces and hits 4 service winners. And Wimbledon is stingy on the service winners stat. I don't agree with it. That's not unreturned serves. That's unreturnable serves. I don't agree with how they keep those stats, IBM or Wimbledon, whoever decides. But Korda, 19 aces. So that's 19-6 Khachanov against Korda. And I was charting every single point at the end of that 5th set when it came down to this 5th set between the guys. And this was a record, I believe. 13 breaks of serve. Neither guy could hold. It was silly. It was unbelievable. It was break, 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 break all throughout the 5th set, 13 times. But it felt like, here was the dynamic. And I don't even know if I have a hard, fast point here. But let me just tell you, to me, to my eyes, this was the dynamic. And a lot of the narrative on Twitter, where you should follow me at Gill_Gross. A lot of the narrative seemed to be Khachanov keeps choking. Korda won't give up. And I didn't understand that at all. Just because Khachanov was serving second doesn't mean he's the one choking. In reality, I thought most of this match was on Korda's racket, the way he was returning in the fifth set. But then he could get no advantage on his serve. And Khachanov was able to basically block back every single first serve, neutralize every first serve, and then sometimes take the second serve aggressively and win a healthy amount of those second serve points. So the serve was nothing for Korda, but I felt off the ground, he was loose. He was sloppy on his serve. And then on the return, somehow Korda was tightening up in a good way. I mean, tightening up the errors. Just not making the same kinds of mistakes, and his offensive returning was tremendous. His backhand return is so good, and a lot of those service games that Khachanov lost, I don't know how much. I thought they were great return games by Korda, is the point I'm trying to make. But the games that Khachanov broke, I felt like it was a little bit more on Korda's racket, and he was being a little bit erratic off the ground. For some reason, I think it got a little bit mental that Korda was playing so much better on his return than on his serve, on the same shots, trying to execute the same shots, just not doing it as well on serve. It was quite strange. But no doubt that the fact that Khachanov's serve maintained the level for the most part, and Korda's serve did not, was a big deal. So at 9-8, for example, with Khachanov serving it out, he served a great game at 9-8. Love all, serve and volley Khachanov, backhand volley into the open court. 15 love. He gets a nice serve, good spot out wide. Korda popped up the return, and Khachanov ripped it cross court for a winner. So that's 2 points. You're using the serve as a weapon. You're gaining an advantage off of that shot. And then 30 love, service winner Karen Khachanov, and 40 love, they get into a rally, and Korda misses a forehand. So look at that, though. 3 points. The serve plays a factor in all three. Korda couldn't get that in the fifth set. He just couldn't, because he didn't have the legs. He didn't have the physicality. And look, this was Sebi Korda's 21st birthday. Happy birthday to you, Sebi Korda. Happy birthday. I wish it went better for his sake. This was his 21st birthday, but he is still building up the body. He is just not there yet. He's not a finished product. His legs, they don't quite look like a pro tennis player's legs yet. And sometimes it's genetic and sometimes it's deceiving. Some players just don't have the definition. But I think for Korda, the evidence has been clear following him in 2021 that he's not there yet. Just physically, he needs a little bit more. And look, the reality is, here's the difference. If Korda's legs are a little bit stronger, and either A, he's able to maintain that 113 to 115 mile per hour first serve speed that he had in the sets that he was successful in, or his serve was just bigger in general, and it was as big as Karen Khachanov's serve, he wins this match. But Khachanov, he's 25, the Russian. And those extra off seasons count. You know, the number of times that Khachanov has been able to spend these off seasons in the gym and just condition his body, that counts. And, you know, I think in 2 years, Korda's the better player, but right now Khachanov has that physical edge. And, you know, Karen's playing great. His forehand is not misfiring as much. His backhand is still really super good and super sturdy. It was fun to watch them exchange cross-court backhands. He's moving forward in opportune ways. He's getting returns in play really well as well. But he still doesn't have the precision off the forehand, and he can still be rushed on that side. He still misses more on that side, more than like a Korda, but he was able to keep it close enough with his tennis, and then at the end, he had that physical advantage. He did. It made all the difference. I know you could say, well, nobody was holding serve, but that's because Korda dipped. And then Khachanov at 9-8, he finally played the good service game, right? He finally did it. And he used the serve. Korda never had that. Just didn't have it in the tank. I thought there were a couple times where, again, just Khachanov was getting some run off of his serve. Korda with some brilliant return games here. So anyway, what a run for the American. Fantastic. It was a pleasure to watch. And Khachanov, good for him. It's been a while since he's been in a quarterfinal, I believe, at a major. And let me just get this for you real quick, just so I can get it. Yeah, it was French Open 2019. He made a quarterfinal, and now he is back. But again, the major results are really consistent, and that speaks to his fitness, doesn't it? It does. All right, thanks for everyone who have joined this live chat. Let's go to the next match, shall we? That's Khachanov Korda. And then again, if you do want to pop something in the live chat, if you want to pop in a super chat, I will stop to answer it. I'll interrupt myself for that. But let's go on to the next result. And I think the second most notable result of the day has to be FAA taking out Alexander Zverev. So let's go with that. Obviously, FAA has had issues in these sorts of matches. Not only is he 0-9, and sorry if it's 0-8, but I believe it's 0-9. Not only does he have that really poor record in the finals, but he's also struggled with top 10 opponents. Try to find this stat for you. He lost 15 of his first 17 matches against top 10 opponents. And now he's on a 3-match winning streak against top 10 opponents, and in his first career major quarterfinal. It's good to see. Just, look, there can still be doubts about FAA, but he's reaching milestones, and it has been such a long time since we've been able to say that, because for years it's been FAA is stagnating. FAA isn't getting better. What's going on with FAA? And just for him to be reaching these kinds of milestones, getting these results, is massive for him. As for the match, Alexander Zverev goes up 4-2 in the opening 4 sets. In all of the first 4 sets, Zverev was up 4-2. And let's be real about what happened here. The serve hijacked Alexander Zverev. I would be, lying if I told you I was really impressed with FAA's performance. I kind of wasn't. I think the forehand just needs to be better than it was in this match. He made 31 forehand unforced errors in this match, just on the forehand, and 16 winners on that side. It's got to be better than that. He was too generous with his errors on the forehand. He missed a lot of backhands down the line. I felt he didn't have that shot either. He double faulted. I guess not too much. I guess it's fine. 6 times. Some of them felt untimely. He only won 56%. He only made 56% of his first serves. But Zverev played really badly too. I don't think it was a good match, folks. And here's the one thing. Before I get into the negative stuff, I just want to say one really good thing about FAA. I want to give him some props. The props is that he hit some of the most important and best shots of his career at 5-4 in the 5th set. It's one thing. I want to highlight that because Zverev got his returns in the court. Zverev put the ball in the court. And that's what Alexander's going to do in that spot. And he is going to force you to create. He is going to force you to earn it. And what does FAA do? At love all, he hits an inside-out forehand winner. At either 35th, I forget. I think he hits one really good serve as well, I think, to get to either 30-15 or 30-love. Then, I think 30-15, he hits a first ball backhand drop shot. I can't believe that he went for that shot and made it. By the way, the drop shot can be key for Felix, and I hope he continues to develop that shot to just offset his power, his vertical power, because he doesn't like to, he's not great with the angles. So if he can take away depth as a counter to his power, that's going to be really great for him. So beautiful backhand drop shot. And then on match point, on the first match point, 40-15, got tight and shanked a forehand. But then on 40-30, he tamed those demons. He tamed those nerves, and he hit a really good forehand and finished an overhead. Those shots were so important, and I'm not someone... Look, I tell you, I mildly root for who I pick generally, and I picked Zverev, but in that moment, my blood pressure was real high for Felix because he has had so many heartbreakers and so many difficult moments, and he came through and hit some of the most clutch shots of his career, the most clutch shots in his career at 5-4 in the fifth set. So credit for Felix here. We do have a super chat from Zachary. Thank you very much for that. Anything in FAA and Shapo, in Shapo's hitting techniques that caused them to break down in five setters? They seem to swing so hard while Fed and Novak are smoother. I think it's actually different for Shapo and FAA, but I always have found it interesting that it seems like the Canadians tend to have the same issues in their game, which is that they're over anxious. They don't have the shot tolerance. They make too many unforced errors. It is kind of funny how that is, that both of them, it would seem to be a coincidence, although they do both train, in the States, in Florida, IMG. They train at IMG. So maybe it's not a coincidence. I don't know, but it probably is. But in terms of in their hitting techniques, I think for Shapo, no. I think for Shapo, his technique is really pretty solid. And it's all about, on the forehand, I think it's all about shot selection and just patience and choosing the right targets. And for FAA, that's a big part of it too. And I'll tell you about one part in this match where it is 2-love in the fifth set and break point for Felix. And he gets a forehand, middle of the court, approach shot opportunity, and smokes a forehand, which would have been a clean winner, hits it center of the strings, right in the corner, but an inch wide. Easy forehand. And that forehand for Felix feels like it's a 50-50 forehand, where it should be a 90% forehand. You should make that 90% of the time. And if you just look at that, again, center of the strings, good timing, everything is lined up. But he's trying to smoke a winner right in the corner, where if you are a confident player who just has a good court feel and you're confident in your volleys, you don't try to smoke a clean winner on that. That is an approach shot. You might hit a winner. You might, but you're certainly not going to miss it because you're going to take time away. You're going to step into the court. You're going to aim about a foot inside the sideline, and you're not going to hit it at 100% power because it's an approach shot. I swear, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Nadal, they don't hit their approach shots at 100% power unless maybe it's like shoulder height and they can really, they really feel like they can hit a clean winner. But on a regular approach shot, they're not hitting that 100% power because all they need to do is hit a solid approach shot and it's going to be a difficult pass. So why are you going for a clean winner on that shot and taking on risk that you don't have to? But I will say both of them have footwork issues. And I think Shapo's footwork is a little bit better than Felix's. But Felix, it's not really as precise as it needs to be. And again, this is a North American problem, I think. The Europeans tend to move their feet better. I think it's because they grow up playing soccer. I honestly believe that. Nadal was a great soccer/football player. Murray was a great soccer player. Federer was a great soccer player. Novak was a skier. I don't know how much soccer he played. If I'm not, I could be mistaken. But in general, it's like FAA and Shapo, I think it's shot selection and footwork more than anything else. With that being said, FAA's forehand is a little bit wristy, and maybe that's something as well. Maybe. Also, it's mental and nerves for FAA. So that's how I would answer that question. But the things that Felix did well in that fifth set, he made some of the clutchest shots of his life at 5-4 serving for it, and he did return really well. He did. That comes with the caveat. The caveat is that Zverev was serving down the tee every single time. So, I mean, Felix was on to that. And I think it was because Zverev feels more comfortable on that serve, lower part of the net. And Zverev will get into a mode where he feels like, and this is not necessarily wrong. It's not ideal, but it's not wrong. But Zverev feels like, well, I serve so big that as long as I make it, it's fine. So let me hit my safer serve, which is, especially on the ad side, definitely the T serve. But he's going there every single time. And, FAA did really well. He was on that. And especially FAA's second serve returning, he stepped in after the rain delay. He stepped in and took it early and really well. So props to FAA's returning, but also, Alexander, mix up your serves maybe, and that'll help if you're able to do that. Which segues me pretty nicely to the next thing I want to talk about, which is Sasha's serve. 20 double faults for Alexander Zverev in his upset against Felix Auger-Aliassime. 20 double faults. A career high for him. And a lot of people were saying, the double faulting is behind Alexander Zverev. He's past that. No more of that. No. And I never felt that was the case. I got on Zverev after the Madrid final, when he double faulted 8 times against Matteo Berrettini. Still won the match, but not only double faulted 8 times, double faulted in crucial spots, including the second set tiebreak against Berrettini in the Madrid final. And the way he double faults is the tell that he hasn't fixed it yet. The difficult thing about it is sometimes it feels like impossible to predict. Is Zverev going to come on the court and serve 3 double faults all match long and it's a complete non-issue? Or is he going to absolutely break down in the biggest way that you can imagine a player breaking down? It feels very difficult to predict sometimes which way it's going to go. But in this case, the trouble starts very early on. In the first set, Zverev hit 8, and he never reeled it in, really. And again, they come in the worst possible times because Zverev wins the third set. He wins the fourth set. He's playing a lot better. Again, I think Zverev at his best was the better player in this match. He just couldn't really summon his tennis and didn't have his serve at all throughout the duration of the fifth set. But he had all the momentum. Start of the fifth set, having just won 2 sets in a row, and Felix looking negative, looking very, very stressed out, like he was feeling the moment. We could be having a very different conversation right now than the one we're having. But Zverev hits 3 double faults in the opening game of the fifth set. 3. Momentum gone. Momentum gone. You can't do that. And as I talked about after the Madrid final, it is becoming very, very difficult to excuse Alexander Zverev for the things we are seeing. Very difficult. Because how many off seasons is it going to be? How much time is going to elapse? And Alexander Zverev's serve looks exactly the same. And I know what the counter argument to that is. I know it's Gill, it's mental. It's not about the technique. I don't care if it's mental. Why does that matter? Change something. Maybe that'll help the mental. Change the technique, and maybe he'll feel more confident about it mentally. The fact that his serve has looked the same throughout the duration of his career on tour is absolute insanity to me. I just can't give him a pass for that. I can't. Nadal's serve has changed. Djokovic's serve has changed. Federer's serve has even changed. Tsitsipas's serve has improved. The toss is better. He doesn't fall out to his left as much. This is normal for a player. Your serve should change. And if it's a problem and it still looks the same throughout your whole career, that is insane to me. It just is. Now, the toss got a little bit higher. That's a negative change. So, I mean, it's going to be a problem. And look, I know it's crazy because Zverev was a couple of points away from being U.S. Open champion. U.S. Open champion. But it feels so far away right now, does it not, guys? It feels so far away because you never know when he is going to be completely unable to hit a second serve. And even when they were landing, by the way, in the fifth set, they were very bad second serves. Or they were 130 mile per hour bombs, which just, that's got problems in itself. So it's crazy to me. It is. Espresso and water. You need both. Very important. I think I'm ready to move on from Zverev against FAA. Let's go to, what shall we do here? Let's go to Rublev. Andrei Rublev taken out in 5 sets by Martin Fucsovics. 6-3, 4-6, 4-6, 6-love, 6-3. Well, this was such an interesting head-to-head coming in. Very well documented because, Fucsovics obviously won 3 times, Rublev won 3 times just in the month of March alone. And it was a 4-match winning streak for Rublev dating back to Roland Garros 2019. It was also a 9-set losing streak for Fucsovics against Rublev. So not only was Rublev winning, but the way he was winning and coming off of a Miami match that was 6-2, 6-1. So as soon as Fucsovics won the first set, first of all, I think that stuff all goes out the window. And I think sometimes it can almost feel for a player like things have gone more terribly wrong than it should feel. I actually think it's a mental edge to Fucsovics for winning that first set, given the head-to-head, the past head-to-head. And the reason for that is I think if you come onto the court and you expect this is going to be a real battle out here today. I know how good this guy is. He's beaten me in the past. Let's say you come onto that court with that mindset. When you lose the first set, I think you are less likely to panic in that case. Now, Rublev, to his credit, wins the next 2 sets. 6-4, 6-4, and then they go into the fourth. So perhaps Rublev just had that had no bearing on Andrei Rublev, and he was able to rebound clearly nicely by winning the next 2 sets. And then from there, it comes off the rails. And the credit, I think tactically, what made this such a difficult match for Rublev was Fucsovics' backhand slice cross court. And I think to understand that, I want to just backtrack to the thing that has made this matchup so hard for Fucsovics and so favorable for Rublev, which is that Andrei has been able to put Fucsovics in backhand jail. Fucsovics doesn't have the best down-the-line backhand, and the backhand is just not so precise, attackable shot. And what Rublev will do is he will pound that backhand side with his backhand cross court, and that will set up the runaround game. Rublev's best shots, his inside-out forehand, his inside-in forehand. And Fucsovics just isn't quite good enough on his backhand down the line to break out of that pattern. But what he can do on the grass is slice cross court. And it is a tactic that has worked well against Andrei Rublev. Dan Evans has won 2 straight against Andrei Rublev. Matteo Berrettini has had a lot of success against Andrei Rublev. The slice cross court is in the scouting report for Andrei, and the reason is that his slice is not good. So what does that do? When Fucsovics slices cross court, it takes away Rublev's ability to hit strong, penetrating, topspin backhands cross court to set up his runaround game. And instead, Rublev's moving inside the court and hitting low, uncomfortable backhands that Fucsovics can now is able to handle and not let Rublev set up that runaround game. The counter for Rublev would be the easiest play to make on that for Rublev would be to slice back, slice cross court, do it back to him. That's why players get into those slice wars you'll see players get into, right? And then the crowd will start murmuring and laughing. The reason is it's just a lot easier. An old coach used to tell me, slice deserves slice. It's not a hard, fast rule. It's not a steadfast rule, but slice deserves slice. And that's the easiest thing for Rublev to do, but he just doesn't have that backhand slice. He's got to work on that. He's got to develop that if he wants to handle opponents better who use that against him. Now, you could say, well, why wouldn't he just run around them and hit forehands? Much more difficult to do on the grass. That would be a much more difficult game plan to execute for Fucsovics on clay, because instead of the backhand slice skidding through with a good amount of speed, instead that ball will stop up on the clay, giving Rublev ample time to step around it and fire off forehands, which he has good footwork. He's very good at doing that. But on grass, it's hard to find your forehand on that shot. You got to take it as a backhand. So that's how Fucsovics was able to avoid the tactic of death against him, which is that backhand jail. But the second thing is a concerning trend for Andrei Rublev. He is now 3-4 in 5-set matches. It's not a great record. It's not horrific. But just in general, if you look at the macro for Andrei Rublev, he's still looking for that slam breakthrough. There's just no doubt about it. And I'm starting to think that there is a stamina problem for Andrei Rublev. It just seems like he had not much left in the legs here. Fucsovics, the beast that he is physically, had plenty. And it just felt like, in terms of who was willing to do the running and the defending and digging in, I mean, it was all Fucsovics, and Rublev, he looked tired out there in the 5th set. And that's a shame. You know, you got to be able to play those 5-setters. There's no doubt about it. Fucsovics is a tough matchup, don't get me wrong, and so is Jan-Lennard Struff. But to me, this is a disappointing summer for Andrei Rublev. The clay swing wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad. He makes the Monte Carlo semifinal. I don't think it'll ever be his best surface. Tough draw in Jan-Lennard Struff. And then, again, but I think to not set up the Djokovic match here, that hurts. Because, remember, I think it's important development for someone like Andrei Rublev to get the experience of playing Novak Djokovic in that quarterfinal. And every time you fail to get there, you take away that experience from yourself, and you're actually stunting your development. And I just think the way that Andrei Rublev has rolled through the ATP 500s and has been so good against players ranked below him, especially in 2020, so good. It's disappointing to see that trend stop. It's disappointing for Rublev to see Rublev go the other way and instead kind of not, have those disappointing losses in majors, where before he wasn't doing that. He set up the quarterfinal against Medvedev at the U.S. Open. He then set up the quarterfinal against Medvedev earlier this year at the Australian Open. Before then, he did well to set up the quarterfinal against Tsitsipas at Roland Garros. Or no, that was after. The Roland Garros was after the U.S. Open last year. So that's all good. And losing to Tsitsipas on clay, losing to Medvedev on hard court, that's fine. No shame in that. So, but it just, the question was, when is Rublev going to take the next step? When is he going to win one of those matches? And now it's 2 majors in a row. He didn't even get to that match. He was stopped before getting to that match. That's disappointment for him. I think that's disappointing. And of course for Fucsovics, excellent. Well done. He's playing great tennis here at the All England Club. He hasn't exactly had the easiest draw, but he's just been fantastic, the Hungarian. So Novak Djokovic next for Fucsovics, and that is a head-to-head where Martin has taken a set both times and has been really, really good, and is just gassed out as Djokovic has kind of moved him around the court until he really can't do any more running, is kind of how that has played out. So that's it for Rublev. Fucsovics, little upset there. Big upset, honestly. All right. So I will warn you guys, the matches I just covered are the matches that, for the most part, I had the most to say about, because again, it was hard to watch everything at once. Let's go to Roger Federer, who plays Lorenzo Sonego and wins in 3 sets, 7-5, 6-4, 6-2. First set was scratchy by both. There's a lot of errors. A lot of errors in the first set, huh? Federer makes it gets to 5-all, and there's this marathon game, and it's kind of the moment of truth here for Lorenzo Sonego, just trying to hold his nerve. Federer making some great plays here, and he makes a great stretch return at 40-all, 5-all in the first set. Unbelievable. I mean, this is what I was watching for. This was an 128-mile-per-hour serve up the tee for Sonego. Sonego, by far, the biggest server that Federer will have faced thus far, if you think about Cam Norrie and Richard Gasquet and first round escaping me, Manarino. By far the biggest server, Sonego. And these are the returns that Federer is going to be asked to make. He makes it 40-all, 5-all first set, and gets to the net, wins that point. And then, oh my God, the rain starts falling, and they have to pause. And Sonego double faults on that add-out point coming back from the break. I mean, you get the warm-up. At the end of the day, I mean, look, I don't think he would have double faulted without the pause, but, it's not, it's just, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know what to tell you, right? But something tells me Roger Federer might not have double faulted in that situation. That's just how it goes. So crazy and wild first set. But after that, Federer upped his game. Federer started playing better, because so did Sonego probably. And I thought that Federer had a side to pick on against Sonego. He really did. And especially he was able to not only attack the backhand of Lorenzo Sonego on serve, but come to the net. I saw a lot of serve volleys to Sonego's backhand. I saw a lot of approach shots to Sonego's backhand, because Lorenzo can't defend that shot. And Federer's forehand was excellent. He hit it well inside out. He hit it well down the line. That was going to be the key here. Again, Sonego just doesn't defend that side very well. Roger got to the net a lot in this match. If I pull up the stats, excellent. 29 for 46 Federer at the net. 46 is high, and I expect it to, the fact that that's rising, I think speaks to a general level of Federer's confidence, because he's getting inside the court. He's hitting aggressive, bad intentioned ground strokes and moving forward, 63% can be higher. But look at Sonego at the net at 43%. So there's a contrast. I was very encouraged also by just how many balls in the court, first serves in the court, returns in the court, Federer was able to get after the first set. Because in the first set, it felt like Sonego's serve was working pretty well. But in the next two sets, Federer did a good job getting his block returns in play. And in the match, Sonego won 66% of his first serve points, which that's good enough for Roger Federer, in my opinion, against, on grass, a dominant serve +1 player in Lorenzo Sonego. I think that's a healthy number. Federer returned the second serve quite aggressively. That's the formula. That's the formula to breaking serve, I'd say. And he broke Sonego's serve 5 times in this match. I think that Sonego could have been a little bit more consistent, a little bit more automatic behind his serve. He missed too much, but that's what the block return does. It gives you kind of a low, semi-difficult first forehand or first shot, whatever it may be, and it plays the averages and says, look, I'm going to try to dig back into this point, and I'm going to try to kind of coax that error from you. And then on second serve, Federer can take a different mindset and can play aggressively, which I think he did. I think he hit over the return, or he sliced very effectively cross court. He did good things on the second serve return. So, look, this is the best Federer's been, and he keeps getting better and better and better. Any thoughts on Roger Federer? Of course, by the way, I want to emphasize, if you're going to put anything in the super chat, it does not need to be a question. It can be a comment, and I will read it and respond to it. So don't feel like it needs to be a question. Since we've done Federer, we'll move on to Djokovic. 6-2, 6-4, 6-2 for Novak Djokovic. It goes back to a dominant first serve performance for Novak, which after the first round against Draper, which I think we saw a lot of really dominant first serving by Djokovic, and a ton of aces in that match. It had been a bit. I think it didn't look quite as good, especially against Denis Kudla, but this was a really, really solid serving performance by Djokovic. 115 mile per hour average on the first, 95 mile per hour average on the second. Djokovic hits 9 aces, but really he's so good behind his first serve. 92% points won, 36 for 39 behind his first serve. Quite the contrast to Cristian Garin, who just, he can't get anything off of his first serve. I don't think much of Garin's level on this kind of surface. I don't think he really has it in him. He did do some good things in the second set. He's a great athlete, and he does have a big forehand and a flat backhand. That's good for grass, but ultimately he doesn't have enough there. Novak played a good return game at 4-all in the second set when Garin was playing his best tennis, got the break when it counted, and you can't expect much better from Novak Djokovic. I mean, again, I do think there was some more compelling tennis going on at the time, and I'm going to go back and watch a little bit more of Novak, but it looked like one-way traffic. It was I do think that Djokovic served incredibly well in this match, and Garin doesn't have that serve effectiveness. So it's such an uphill battle. At any point when you are looking at Novak, the greatest baseliner, the best grass baseliner in the world, I think there's very little doubt about that. And if you are going to get outserved by that margin, I mean, what the heck are you going to do? If that's what's happening in a match against Novak Djokovic, if you're being outserved that badly. So, again, Garin gets through because he's in a soft section of the draw there. And now let me take this time to say this. at this point, because I just talked about Federer and I just talked about Djokovic, there is obviously the warring fan bases that love to talk about easy draws and good fortune and so got lucky. And of course, it's all garbage. Of course, over the course of a career, it all evens out. But let's just talk about Wimbledon 2021. Federer and Djokovic have had the perfect draws. Both of them. Both of them. Now, Federer probably needed it a little bit more than Djokovic because Roger is still playing himself into form. Novak could have had a tough draw, and I'm pretty confident he'd still be in the quarterfinals. But come on, let's call it like we see it. Novak's draw, Novak was in one of the softest sections in the entire draw. There's no doubt about it. Federer, he got great matchups. And then, you take into account Manarino, the tough first round. Obviously, freak incident happens, and Federer doesn't even need to really solve that puzzle, ultimately. Again, I think Roger fancied himself in that fifth set. He looked like he was going to win the fourth. I fancy Roger in that fifth set as well, but he didn't need to do it. And then after that, he just gets, it was a good draw. It was. Garin in the first set looked like Nori in the first set. Center court, Wimbledon, a little bit of deer in headlights, not really ready, not really playing good tennis. So that's the reality of it. You want to talk about Novak versus Roger? The answer is both. They both got the perfect draws. They both got the ideal draws. It's just how it is. It's just how it is. So are we complaining about it? I don't think so. I'm not. Hell no. I'm not complaining about it. Because, look, we'll see what happens. But obviously, I want Djokovic and Federer. I wouldn't mind if Djokovic had some tougher tests just for entertainment value. So I will admit that. All right. Shapovalov and Roberto Bautista Agut. Oh, man. Shapo's on a roll now, right? I mean, 6 sets in a row. That can't go much better than they went for Dennis the Menace. Who's looking very good, by the way. I saw a comparison of the haircut of Wimbledon 2019 versus 2021, and he's definitely got the right look right now. But look, here's what happens in this matchup. There is a massive firepower discrepancy here. Everyone can admit that. And it is all over the court. It is on serve. It is on both cross-court rallies. Shapo's backhand is bigger than RBA's forehand in most cases. And obviously, Shapo's forehand is bigger than RBA's backhand. But a lot of people thought that Roberto's consistency would be too much for Dennis, and that he would be able to extract errors with his steadiness, with his constant depth of ground stroke. And I don't really blame anyone who thought that. But what happened was RBA goes, I'm not going to give you anything. I'm not going to give you the errors. And Shapo goes, okay, that's okay. I'll create my own. I'll win the points on my own terms. Shapovalov won 107 points. He hit 52 winners. He won half his points on winners. Half. That is rare, ladies and gentlemen. That is something else. They were flowing. And Shapo's in a zone here where, in my opinion, to beat Shapovalov in the form he is in right now, you got to make him uncomfortable. I don't think you can sit back and hope that Shapo's going to misfire. Again, he has reached a point where his shot selection is a lot better. He's hitting into the central parts of the court, cross-court, middle, and I think the grass has helped him understand that and do that. I think he feels the speed of the grass or the low bounce of the grass, and I know it's not the fastest in the world. I get that. But it's still fast enough where I think Shapo just understands that he does not need to go down the line unless he feels absolutely comfortable doing it. where on clay, he probably feels like he needs to do it more often. And Shapo's looking very, very good right now. With that being said, I also thought that the directionals played a huge factor here. Just watching the match, you have... Let me explain something about RBA's forehand. The fact that it's so flat makes it much more effective down the line and inside out. That's where it's effective, because cross court, it doesn't have that. First of all, it doesn't have as much power. So the further the ball, the further distance the ball has to travel, the more MPH matters, the more speed matters. RBA doesn't really have that speed, so that's why it's more deadly down the line, but also he doesn't get those topspin revolutions, which mean he doesn't hit that cross-court angle. So he's better down the line. He's going into Shapo's forehand. That's not the side that is going to really break down on the run. The side that's going to break down if rushed, if pressured, is the backhand. If you put Shapo, if you make him play defense on his backhand, you're going to get some misses. Oh, yeah, you are. If you can rush him with pace, you can pull him outside the court with width, you can keep it low like Kohlschreiber did with the height to the backhand, that's the side you got to attack. That's just not what RBA does. RBA attacks on the edge side of the court, not so much the deuce side. And he does the same thing with his cross-court backhand. So that's what I think. I mean, Shapo's also serving really aggressively. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the next round. I mean, Shapovalov against Khachanov for a major semifinal spot. Unbelievable. Berrettini, Ivashka is the last match that I didn't talk about, right? That was 6-4, 6-3, 6-1. I didn't watch that match, I got to tell you. I don't know. If you were watching that match instead of Khachanov and Korda, you're either from Italy or Belarus, I got to tell you. That's got to be it, right? No, I mean, Berrettini has fans, so I get it. He's got fans all over the world, no doubt. I'm looking at the stats here. If anything jumps out at me. 37 winners, 25 unforced errors for Berrettini. Another clean performance. Ivashka was 16-16. Berrettini, first serve, hottest serve in the game right now. Does he have the hottest first serve in the game? How about 84% points won on the first serve? Only served 53% in the court, though. Interesting. And only hit 7 aces. Ivashka out-aced Berrettini and still lost 4-3-1. Anyway, so that's all I'll say about the match. I'm not going to go on and read the stats because you guys can do that by yourself. But yeah, I didn't really check out that match. But anyway, we have very interesting quarterfinal matches. Let's just run through them real quick. Again, I'm not going to go in depth here. That'll be a separate video tomorrow. So quarterfinals are set. Djokovic will take on Fucsovics. Khachanov will take on Denis Shapovalov. I'm interested to see Shapo's return in that because Khachanov really is serving well. He's serving a lot bigger and a lot better, but Shapo's much, much better attacking off the ground, much more proficient creating that offense off the bounce. No doubt about it. Then you have Berrettini and FAA. If I'm being honest, Berrettini's rolled. Nobody's challenged him. I don't think FAA's first serve return looked fantastic until the 5th set against Zverev, but then it looked good. But overall, FAA's got to step it up. That's all I'll say right now. He's got to step it up. I wasn't too impressed with his performance against Emer. I wasn't too impressed with his performance against Nick. And I wasn't too impressed with his performance against Zverev. I hate to say it, but I just wasn't. And then Roger Federer will take on, Medvedev and Hurkacz, which has not completed. And I guess I'll talk about that for a moment, but I actually don't want to spend too much time on it. Hurkacz is net rushing. Hurkacz is net rushing. That's the adjustment that he's made. He's trying to take advantage of Medvedev's deep return position by just charging, charging, and it's a good tactic against Medvedev. I think it's the thing to be doing, but Hurkacz just doesn't have the consistent, sustained aggression on the forehand or the backhand to make plays against Medvedev's defense and his counter-striking unless he's going to the net, and then often he's having to hit difficult volleys. So that's what's happening right now, in my opinion. I think Medvedev has gotten better and more comfortable, though, and I believe he's up a break in the fourth set. I will verify that right now. I guess I got to go to the live scores, right? Live scores. I think he's up a break. No, because where can I find the score to this thing? It's not live. It's not a result. I mean, what does a man have to do? Anyway, okay. I'm sorry, but we're not going to get that. So I think he's up a break in the fourth set. Maybe someone in the chat can help me out. You guys are always very smart. Yes. Oh, wait. No, I don't see anyone. Anyway, I am not going to give my predictions here. Again, that is a separate video. Thank you for the super chat. Rest in peace, my pick, Steve Johnson. Good on grass. Slicing a big forehand. That's what you need, right? Oh, he's not. They are on serve. Okay, they are on serve. Got it. Thank you, guys. Anyway, I'm going to give about 20 seconds for any super chats to come in. If they don't, I will sign off. I'll just tell you, this has been a lot of fun. I mean, as you guys can tell, you know, I'm definitely experimenting with different ways to do content on the channel. And one of that is going live here, which I've enjoyed it so far. And I got to continue to find ways to do it. And, you know, still figuring out the magic potion. So hope you guys are liking this live stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the individual spots where I talked about these matches, and I'm probably going to post them separately because I want that SEO. If I just say Manic Monday results, people who want to know about, you know, a specific match, this video will never come up. So that's my thing. What was the super chat? Some people are telling me that I missed a super chat. What was it? Can you guys tell me? Because that just means I never checked the page. I'm just gonna wait for you guys to try to tell me what the super chat is. And then I'll answer the question. I appreciate that, guys. Okay. The question was, thank you, Zachary, for letting me know. Hi, Gill, loving the content. How would you assess Federer's chances if he can reach a final, potentially against Djokovic? Well, look, man, I mean, that is tough to say. I would say this. Overall, the biggest difference that I would project between 2019 Djokovic Federer and 2021 Djokovic, if Federer reaches the 2019 level. That's what we're assuming, right? We're assuming that Federer gets back to the level that he played in 2019. I think in order, because if he makes the final, I think that's what it's pretty much going to take. So let's assume that. The biggest difference between Djokovic from this point and now is the serve. And ultimately, it feels like Novak had to scrap and claw in that 2019 final. And oftentimes he was the player who was under more pressure than Federer. He was able to withstand that pressure, grit, focus, determination, and he got through it. But you wonder if the improved Novak Djokovic serve would actually relieve a lot of that pressure and would give him the slight edge in that match. So in my opinion, Novak's a better version of himself who would probably be able to beat Federer, you know, would have an easier time beating Federer, because the last time, let's face it, 50-50 match, Novak was outplayed for most of it. I think the serve could really change that. However, I think you got to throw an X factor in here because Djokovic handled the pressure a little bit better than Federer in 2019, even though I think Federer handled it well. And I take issue with the idea that Federer choked. I don't really think he did. I think to hit an approach shot that's a little bit too safe. I mean, my God. I mean, are we gonna choke? Is too strong a word for that, folks. It just is. It just is. And then he did well to force the 12-all tiebreak, and he hung in there. So I really think that it would be interesting to see that final played with seemingly a ton more pressure on Novak than Federer compared to the last time, and seeing how Novak would handle that. Because thus far, in the second part of his career, ever since coming back from the elbow issues and obviously the time off, and I guess ever since the Khachanov loss at Roland Garros, and then when he won that Wimbledon, I have not seen Novak really be affected by the pressure. I haven't seen it. So, look, Novak is a human being. At some point before he retires, we are going to see that. And it's unbelievable. And he has won he's won majors, in my opinion, in this stretch based on the fact that he has not felt those nerves with all of the pressure on him. That is why he wins that 5-setter against a Dominic team in the Australian Open final. One of the reasons. It's because he hasn't felt that pressure. So I would wonder, trying to tie number 20 at Wimbledon with the Golden Slam in play, and people had no expectations really for Federer here, you would wonder if that dynamic changes a little bit. That's kind of the answer to my question. But the serve for Novak could be an X factor. Another super chat from Avi. Hi, Gill. Great content as always. Please tell us more about yourself and what you do apart from tennis analysis, what your future career plans are, etc. Thanks. Thank you for the question. I'm happy to do it in this setting. I know, of course, a lot of the people who will tune in live here will be some of my most loyal viewers, so I'm very happy to talk about that. So I actually have, exciting stuff coming up very soon. And I'm happy to break the news live right now. Next week, I will be on Tennis Channel doing some single hosting. So that's not match commentary. It's a little bit different. But, I plan to be in tennis media. I want to be in tennis media. I hope to be calling matches. I hope to be creating content in tennis, continue creative content, maybe journalistic content and all of that, continuing with analysis, all of those things. So I hope to be in tennis media. That is the plan. At some point, it might take away from what I'm able to do on YouTube. In fact, I don't know exactly what Sunday is going to look like for the gentlemen's singles final. I think I'll be on a plane for most of it, and it's gonna be interesting. Obviously, I'm not gonna make no content, but it probably won't be the same. So that it's just a start right now for me, and I'm just kind of venturing into that, and that is that. So that's the answer, really. I've recently graduated. School. I majored in broadcast and digital journalism. I'm passionate about other sports as well. I am passionate about play-by-play on both radio and TV. I passionate about reporting as well, and I love television and all of that. So, but right now I'm in tennis, and I'm all in on tennis, and that is the sport that I can analyze. The other sports I can't analyze at the level that I analyze tennis. Really appreciate the super chat from Futi. I hope I didn't butcher your name too badly over there. Another super chat from Zachary is, what will it take for Medvedev to beat Fed? I I won't leave you guys though for anyone. I'm not going to leave YouTube. I will always be checking in all the time. I don't know. Right now I'm full-time YouTube. If you haven't noticed, it's what I'm waking up every day and focusing on. So it's been a lot of fun to do that. It won't always be like that. And by the way, quick note, a lot of people are asking, why wouldn't you do watch-alongs? It's because I'll never do watch-alongs for certain reasons. I don't want to get into exactly why, but it's because of my aspirations, which are a little bit different than I think some of the other people on YouTube. No problem with this, who are doing it more as a hobby. And some YouTubers are able to do things that I can't do because I need to have a certain level of there's just certain restrictions that I have. Okay. What would Medvedev need to do to beat Roger? He would need to serve really hard to the backhand. First of all, he can test that return. And then he needs to be able to handle those block returns that Roger is going to give him. He's going to try to blunt all of the pace on Medvedev's serve. He's going to try to blunt that pace. And Medvedev needs to find a good balance of not getting overzealous on that first ball and making errors, but also, trying to take control of the rally. That's going to be the key for him on serve. On return, that's the concerning part for Medvedev. Will he have an answer for Federer's wide serve on the deuce side with the slice, on the ad side with the kick? Federer is going to open up the court, and he is going to come into net. It's not necessarily going to be serve volley. It might be serve, hit into the open court, and come in behind that. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Medvedev tries to do there. So far in this tournament, against Marin Cilic, against Hubert Hurkacz, Medvedev's plan is defend, dig it out, make the pass difficult. And that is going to be a lot harder against Federer. So I think that Medvedev is going to be challenged, at least on the second serve return, to move up his return position. And I don't know if he's going to do it or not, but I will say this. If Medvedev can take care of his return and can get into neutral spots, I think the way Novak has bothered Federer with his consistent trading, with his consistent deep trading, I think this in the same way Medvedev can really bother Federer by keeping the ball deep in the court, keeping Roger at bay, lengthening the rallies, and getting to Federer's legs. That is how I believe Medvedev can hurt Roger Federer if they play. And Daniil needs to get through Hubert Hurkacz. He is 2 sets to 1 up. He is on serve. I am going to leave it at that, guys. Again, very fun live chat. I appreciate everyone who has joined me. Again, for everyone wishing me the best and hoping that the YouTube stuff isn't going to change, do not worry. I will not forget where I came from. That is YouTube. That is with you guys delivering content like this. Again, I owe a lot to everyone who's watched me over the years, and even if you're someone new watching me, I owe a lot to you. So ending it on that note, on the final Manic Monday, in the history of Wimbledon, and the first live Monday match analysis. Remember, I'm available on all podcast platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Gill_Gross. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.